All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have been looking over your menus and they look really good. So let's go ahead and share. I'm going to try to do the ones written in English first, and then the ones that are written in Romanian. I'm going to have Maria come and help me. And okay, so my personal observation eating here last year and this year is I noticed, and I always appreciated this, I love this, starting off with soup. In America, we don't always start with soup, but sometimes we do. But it's really nice here. I've been enjoying the flavor of your soup here because it's so tasty. It's very flavorful. So that's one thing that was different for me, is always starting with soup here. And everything else has been wonderful, of course. So this assignment was trying to pattern the plate that your association has created so very nicely. So one of the groups, their menu started off with soup with vegetables, carrot, peas, and potato. And they said that they would also have a grilled chicken with brown rice and a salad. Okay, so this is traditionally starting off with the soup that you normally have, and it's vegetables. And that is covering already the requirement of having the vegetables. And your chicken would be your protein, grilled chicken, and that's great because it's grilled. And your brown rice is your whole grain. And then a salad. Okay, that's all really healthy, which I would approve of. Now, you may not be used to one food item that I'm thinking about in my head that's not listed in this particular menu. How can we make this? It may not be a Romanian way of eating, so I can understand if you don't have it here, but how can we round this out more so it's more almost following, really getting close to this recommendation? You have the vegetables in the soup, you have the grilled chicken, you've got the brown rice, you have the salad. It's really good. There's one thing that I'm looking for. Somebody said berries? I'm sorry? Dairy? Okay, dairy, well, fruits. It's fruits that I was definitely looking for. Is that something that you're usually used to doing here at lunch, or maybe not? Oh, you eat in between meals the fruits. Okay. Okay. You know, okay, I can understand that. I like that you have those snacks in between. There's nothing wrong with snacks. Snacks are definitely a good thing, for sure, as we have been enjoying. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're having it in between, then that's great. It was just in my thinking like, okay, it's so important to have fruits and vegetables every day, and I just didn't see it here. And so, but now that I understand that your tradition is to have it in between, then that's perfectly fine. So typically, though, do you have about at least 5 or 3, let's say 3 servings of fruits per day within your snacks? Usually 2? Okay. Okay. Do you ever have fruit at dinner? Not sometimes. Okay. So that's not a traditional thing to do, right? To have fruit at dinner, Maria? Yeah. Right. Well. Okay. Right. But I think they were speaking for the even though you are nutrition and dietetic students, I think they were doing a good job in also answering traditional. So, okay. The thing is, would it hurt you? Would it hurt the culture, though? I don't want to impose anything, anything that would be uncomfortable. Would it hurt the culture in a way, or make it uncomfortable to encourage your patient to have a fruit at lunch or at dinner? Would that make it strange? Would it make it untraditional? Would that make it weird? No. Okay. The fruit after the main meal, so that would be like a snack later on or within that meal. Okay, that's good. Okay, so this is good. I was leading up to that, which is really good. That I know that we like to enjoy dessert and sweet desserts, and what we can do too to make things a little bit healthier for our patients is to encourage them to continue to do what you're doing, is instead of always having a sugary dessert, is to swap it sometimes or just interchange it. One day, have your dessert be a fruit. Let that be your dessert of enjoyment. It's just that I was just thinking, if you only had your fruits at your snacks, that might not be enough. So if we can encourage each other and your patients to have a fruit at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, then that would definitely bring you up to at least 5. There was a study that said that they were actually doing a study on older people, and they were trying to see which group had the better memory. One group, they did eat vegetables, but just average amounts, 4, 5 of servings of fruits and vegetables per day. They did okay with their memory. But the group that ate close to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every single day, and they chose fruits and vegetables that were rich in vitamin C, their memory was so much better than the group that just ate bare minimum fruits and vegetables. So it's just something too, because as we get older, our memory, all of you are still young, so it's not a problem yet. But the thing is, memory can be an issue, but nutrition can definitely help with that. So that's not only one thing that comes out of eating fruits and vegetables, but it's a big thing. And that's another thing you can add when you're encouraging your patients to eat more fruits, eat more vegetables. Not only do you say, well, it's good for your heart, but you can also add, do you want to have better memory? Well, then this can also help too. If patients and clients see the benefits, as many benefits as they can, in eating more fruits and vegetables, that's great. We are trying in America to really push the intake of fruits and vegetables, because those antioxidants can really help prevent a lot of other diseases from coming on, not just the cardiovascular disease, cancers, other things. And so eating here, I've just noticed that, okay, I get my fruit in my room, which is great, but I'm so used to having it right there, the fruits too, when I'm eating at my meals. And so if we can encourage our general public to be eating more fruits in addition with our vegetables, you would be really doing a great job. But here with the brown rice and the grilled chicken, great choices, great choices. I would just round it off with fruit. So on this other group, their soup is tomato soup creamed with, is that croutons? Okay. Croutons, perfect, wonderful. With white fish with vegetables like kale. Kale is a great vegetable. Eggplant, cauliflower, and carrots with spices like basil, rosemary, and no salt. Okay, and dessert would be a peach. Oh, excellent. And a glass of white wine. Okay, so that really rounds it out. And so does anybody want to make any comments on that as far as anything that might be missing? We've got the tomato soup, the white fish, and the vegetables, and then we have our peach. So that's, that's really good. We've got our fruit there, we've got our vegetables, we have our protein. Okay, the whole grain. Yes, the whole grain. I noticed that I've always been having a lot of white bread here, which I'm not 100% opposed to. It's okay to have it once in a while. But it would be nice to really encourage more people to be choosing more of the whole wheat breads, because then you're increasing your fiber that way too. Okay? But, everybody's doing a really good job so far. It's just like one thing that we just needed to add to round it out. So when we're talking to our patients, we're always thinking about the balance of it, not like, okay, well, all these choices are all healthy, but let's look at the protein content, let's look at the fiber content, let's look at the carbohydrate content, and let's see if it balances it out. If we don't get enough protein in our meals and it's just mostly carbohydrates, that can get used up very quickly. And then we're hungry too soon. But if we had a good amount of protein at each meal, then that sustains us for a few hours until it's time to eat adequately again. So some of our patients always tell us, I'm just so hungry all the time. Well, let's look at the balance. The balance might not be there, so we need to help them with that. Okay. And let's see. Okay, so I see here whole grain rice, kidney beans, carrots, onions, and parsley and spices and olive oil. Was that for a soup? I'm not sure. But the whole grain rice and the kidney beans. And then there's chicken grilled breast, and then there's a salad, tomatoes, cucumber, and peppers, and then a fruit, berries. Wow, okay, so you're catching on to more fruits, which is good. I'm happy to see that. And I think what's missing here, no, nothing's missing. You have the whole grain rice. So that group did a good job in balancing out. So to that group, very good, very good. And let's see here. Vegetable soup, grilled chicken breast. You know, and I like that they wrote the amounts. That is excellent. 300 milliliters, is that milliliters of vegetable soup, 100 grams of grilled chicken breast, 150 grams of brown rice, 50 grams of carrots, and the dessert is a fruit salad. Oh, that is very good. You have the bananas, the oranges, the pineapple, and peaches. So that's nice. It gives a nice flavor with the different mixes. So to that group, that's a really good choice there. And you know what? Your patients will appreciate it too, just like what this group did. They put the amounts. That's very helpful. I know I didn't ask for that, so you didn't have to have that there, but it would be nice when you write out your menu plan for your patient to have the amounts too, because that will give them a better guide. And what you usually want to do is to figure out the calories that your patients need per day. And then if you can line that up with the serving portions for each food group that you come up for your patient, they will really appreciate it. And it's hard. There are some patients that will come to you and say, oh, could you write me a menu for 2 weeks? And wow, 2 weeks for how many meals? You know, 3 meals, 14 days. That's a lot of meals to come up with. And so we don't do that all the time. But if you could do 1 day's worth for them and to send them home with 1 meal plan for a day, just to give them an example of what to do, they will definitely appreciate that. Okay. Oh, so it's nice. Some groups drew the circle, the plate. So here's the lunch menu: soup, vegetables. I love how your soups are vegetable soups: peas, potatoes, carrots, cabbage. Okay, and the main dishes are tomatoes, carrots, and a cabbage salad, a fruit parfait, brown rice, and beans that are cooked. So you looked at each aspect and you put it all in, and excellent choices. The fruit parfait can definitely go into the meal plan. So the group that put that in, very good. Here's another plate that was drawn. Fresh fruits. Oh, yes, a side of oranges, kiwi, apples, and grapes. So you have kiwis here too. Oh, wonderful. And whole grain breads. Oh, we have a bread this time. The other groups were using the brown rice, but then that's great. But the whole grain bread is a good choice. At least 2 slices. Okay, that's good. You're giving a guideline there. And your legumes. Okay. Okay, vegetables, carrots. Okay, those are all good too. And everybody's using grilled chicken. So that's good. That's good. Okay, that one is in Romanian. I'll have Maria read that later with me. A vegetable soup. Oh, look at this, grilled salmon. Yum. That is definitely a good choice with brown rice, with green onions, red peppers, carrots, broccoli, and dark chocolate. Look at that. Very good. So this is all very, very excellent. With the grilled salmon, what is the extra nutrient that we get from eating salmon? Yes, omega-3 fatty acids. And what is that helpful in? It's helpful in so many things. Yes, it brings up the HDL. Immune system. It strengthens the immune system. Oh, that's a big one. It is definitely an anti-inflammatory. That's very helpful. But you know what else is that, I'm sorry? Oh, inhibits blood clots. Okay, so it helps with that. Yes, yes, you're absolutely right. Another big plus, too, that a lot of research has been coming out is those with depression, that the omega-3 fatty acids can help with that, too. So if you're all eating fish, we all should be happy and not depressed. But, okay, and the dark chocolate, it's nice because they put just 20 grams, so that's good, a good amount that they set. So what is the thing about dark chocolate these days? What is it popular for? And it's true. It's definitely an antioxidant, and it can also help lower what? Memory? Did you say memory? Oh, I wish that's true. I'll be eating more then, but... oh, what did you... Oh. Oh, okay. You know what it also helps with? It also helps bring down blood pressure too. Some of the research has been saying. I wouldn't tell people to just always eat dark chocolate every single meal, you know, but it can be included in the meal plan because it does have those benefits. So it's a good thing. So let's not forget dark chocolate. It is healthy. What is it about milk chocolate that doesn't make it, why isn't it as good as your dark chocolate? Although it tastes good. It doesn't have as much cocoa. You're absolutely right. And more sugar. Oh, that's why it tastes so sweet. Yes, but once in a blue moon, that's okay. But your dark chocolate, definitely more often. Okay? And, okay. Oh, okay. So I think I bypassed what I wanted to originally say about the salmon, is that it's also rich. It has a good amount of calcium in it, too. So that's something to think about when you're choosing salmon, okay? Here's another choice that we haven't seen yet, which is good, your turkey breasts. Yes, with brown rice, I believe, and salads and vegetables, and your fruits and your juices. Okay. So what is it? That's all really good, healthy choices. We just need to round it out with one thing. We have the turkey. Oh, no, we have the brown rice. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to that group. You did a good job with that one. Very good. Okay. This is also... Okay, green salad, 1 cup with dressing, olive oil, and maybe that's a lemon. I'm not sure. Fish with rice, fruits with yogurt. What is the benefit of yogurt? Why is it a desirable food item to eat? It contains probiotics, yes. What is that called? What's the name? It begins with an L. Lactobacillus. Very good. Acidophilus. And why do we need probiotics? What can it help you and me? With the microflora, yes. So if you have patients that have been on antibiotics, it kills off the bad flora. And it takes out the good bacteria. So we actually want to replace that with the good stuff. So having yogurt is a good thing. And do you have Greek yogurt here in Romania? And what sets that apart from regular yogurt? Actually, more fat. It actually has more protein. And it's made of goat milk. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. And a lot of people are choosing that more because of the higher protein content. So that's a good thing. But yogurt in general is a very good thing. Okay, so one group says vegetable soup, smashed peas, grilled mushrooms and grilled eggplant, fresh salad, and forest fruits parfait. Oh, that sounds so gourmetish. Very nice. Forest fruits parfait. Now, it's really good, but we're missing a macronutrient. It's not really missing. It's kind of in there. But we need a little bit of it more. Do you know what I'm thinking? It's a macronutrient. It's somewhat there. It depends on the amount you're actually giving your patient. But it's something that we need to balance our meals a little bit more. And maybe if you gave me the amount, it would be like perfectly fine. But I was just thinking about protein. Okay, probably need a little bit more protein. But your group did say smashed peas, so that does have protein. Now, how many grams were you thinking to the group? Would it be half a cup or a cup? I know you like to think in grams, but if you want to tell me, I'll just talk in cups. So if you did, let's see, about half a cup, that would probably provide a total for that one meal. It might just provide in the neighborhood of about 6 grams of protein. Not a whole lot, and you might get a little bit more protein if your parfait has a little bit of yogurt, so maybe another couple grams of protein. So this meal would probably be a total about 8 grams. That's not enough, okay? So these choices are healthy, but we would just need to bump up the protein a little bit more. Okay, that's what I would just say. But otherwise, the choices are good. Another group says whole wheat noodles with lentils, broccoli, and beans, cabbage salad, frozen yogurt with forest fruits. Okay, what is forest fruits? I like the way it sounds. Berries. Okay, so a combination of different berries together. That's nice. I will take that home to America and tell them we're calling it forest berries. Okay, forest fruits. That's great. Okay, the frozen yogurt. Now let's talk about frozen yogurt in comparison to regular yogurt. What's the comparison? Is there a difference between frozen yogurt and regular yogurt? The frozen yogurt doesn't have as much of the probiotics in the frozen yogurt. It doesn't have as much. But I love frozen yogurt. It's like ice cream. So that's why I like frozen yogurt. But again, that's just the thing. It's not that it's bad, but it does have more added sugar than your regular yogurt. But it's definitely something to have as a treat every now and then. So something to keep in mind. But the protein content is good because you're talking about lentils and beans here. And then you have the yogurt. So that's really good. Okay, lunch meal, spinach, cream spinach soup. Oh, we had that the other day. That was divine. And 1 piece of whole grain bread, grilled mushrooms filled with tofu. There's your protein right there. And tomato sauce with basil and olive oil. And 1 piece of a whole corn cake with strawberry smoothie. Oh, okay. Smoothies. So are smoothies a big thing here in Romania? No, not really. Okay. Well, to that person that put smoothie, or to that group, that's really good. That's something, that is something that you can have if you are on the go for breakfast. There are some people that say, you know what, I don't really have time for breakfast. I just need something quick and easy and out the door. Oh, smoothies. Okay, let me explain what smoothies are first. It's kind of like a shake. Do you know what a shake is? Okay, so in a blender, you would put a whole bunch of your favorite fruits, like it could be strawberries and bananas and berries, and then you would need a fluid in there. And it could be even orange juice or apple juice, and it could be non-fat milk or almond milk or rice milk, and you just blend that up in the mixer. And some people will add like a tablespoon of powdered protein to bump up the protein content, and a lot of people do that. So that would be actually not a very well-balanced breakfast, but it is something that has carbohydrates and protein that for someone who doesn't really like to eat breakfast or who's so in a hurry, that would actually be a healthy option. Okay, so smoothies. It is a big thing in America. They do have what we call jamba juice, and so it's all these different drinks with fruits that it just centers around fruits and different variations. But smoothies, at lunch, I never thought about having it at lunch, but hey, why not? So for that group, very good. And yes, the tofu does have protein, so that's good. Okay, great, fantastic. So Maria, can you please help me read the other ones that are in Romanian? And we saw some really good ones too already. Okay, so this one is definitely in Romania?
Vegetable soup without salt, tofu with tomato sauce, and yogurt with fruits.
Okay. Yeah.
Vegetable soup, no salt, tofu with tomato sauce, and yogurt with fruits.
Okay.
As a snack.
Oh, as a snack.
As a
Okay.
snack.
So tofu and
Tomato sauce.
and tomato sauce.
And
Okay.
vegetable soup, no salt.
Okay. So those are healthy
cereal.
choices. Yes. Okay. So what should we add to that? It's okay, something from the whole grain group. And what would go good with tofu? What would be a grain that would pair up nicely with tofu? Yeah, a grain. There's no wrong or right answer because any answer is actually right. So, what would you like to pair it up with? Or to the group that said this one? Or anybody?
Bulgur. Do you have bulgur?
A whole grain. Okay, bulgur. Okay, bulgur would be good. Or quinoa. Quinoa would be good with that. That would make a nice contrast. What is so amazing about quinoa? Does anybody like to eat quinoa? Can I see your hands? All right, a few people. We got to get more of you to like quinoa. What is the thing about quinoa? What is it? Yes, it's amazing that it's a whole grain, but yet it is complete in the essential amino acids. And we usually only find that in meat products. So with quinoa, yeah, and soy, yes, yeah. And so anyway, but the thing is, quinoa doesn't take long to cook, and it takes on the flavor of what you flavor it with. I like to put it with either lemon juice or lime just to give it that acidic kick. That and it goes really well with anything, and it's high in fiber. And for those who are gluten sensitive or who have celiac disease, that doesn't have the gliadin in it. So that would be a healthy thing. But quinoa is so good. So more of you, eat it. Try it. But bulgur is good too. That's something I would pair up with the tofu, also with the quinoa. And so, and the fruit was a snack, right? Okay. All right, very good. Let's see. I think those are. Here. This one blew me away. This one was amazing. Okay.
As an entree, one fruit, one banana, then 20 minutes break. First course, it will be a vegetable soup without salt. Cauliflower, carrots, parsley, celery, onion, and dressing yogurt with tomato. The second course will be sarmale. I don't have to translate in English.
I know what that is now. Yes, I've had it. It's delicious.
Sweet cabbage, brown rice, or buckwheat, or soy, or nuts, walnuts. Mushrooms, thyme, dill, tomatoes, and onions. This is inside the cabbage.
Yes.
And then the dressing will be yogurt with olive oil and one slice of whole wheat bread.
Okay. So that dressing was yogurt, right?
Yogurt with olive oil, and it still has dessert.
Oh yeah, still dessert. That's right.
Dessert will be coliva. You know everybody what's coliva.
I don't.
It's cum e greu? Wheat, soaked wheat. It says here, or oat,
Okay.
with honey, walnuts, raisins, and grated apple.
Wow, that's a very healthy dessert. I like that. It actually sounds like it's very sweet.
And for a good digestion, a walking in the park for at least 30 minutes.
Oh, I love it. We have a complete nutrition consult here. This is great. Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to go back. I need you here. So the yogurt for this particular entree
For sarmale. For the
sarmale.
Dressing for sarmale.
Okay, and usually it's sour cream.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so I love that it's yogurt. A lot of people in America are beginning to use yogurt more in their entrees, and it definitely adds a nice flavor. And why would it be a better choice, yogurt, than your sour cream?
Less saturated fat.
It has less saturated fat, absolutely. Uh-huh.
And less fat, total fat.
Yeah, and just less total fat altogether. And then it's giving you that calcium also, more than the sour cream. So see how we're always trying to find the foods that are giving you more bang for your buck, meaning giving you more nutrients along with the calories that it's giving you, because we don't want to just take in calories that are empty. We want those calories to count. So sour cream versus yogurt. So the group that chose the yogurt, great choice. Great choice. Okay? All right, and there were others. There were a whole bunch. Okay, yes.
Vegetable cream soup, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, celery, with parsley and 30 grams of croutons. And salmon, grilled salmon with vegetable sauté, green peas, carrots, and capsicum. And dressing would be olive oil with lemon.
Olive oil and lemon. For the fish. Oh, excellent.
I assume.
Okay, yes, for the fish. Okay, so there was something here that you had mentioned that I wanted to.
Cereals.
Okay, so, but can
no,
you read something?
Only 30 grams of croutons.
Oh, the croutons. Well, okay, 30 grams. That's a little bit amount, right?
Yeah.
You know what though? Okay, let's talk about the croutons. The croutons that you use, are they already from the store or do you make them yourself?
Usually make ourselves.
Oh, you make it yourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. We're kind of lazy in America. We actually buy them packaged. Shame on us. But it really is better because it is easy to make croutons. I was going to say that if you do make them at home, it would be a good idea to make it from a whole wheat bread.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, but I'm happy to hear that you make it yourselves. That is fantastic.
And no fruit.
And so, yes, it would be nice to add a fruit to that meal. And otherwise, that was really good. Okay.
Another one, a vegetable soup, 250 milliliters plus 50 grams of vegetables, 1 lemon, squeezed lemon, 1 teaspoon of parsley or dill, I don't know,
Okay.
and olive oil or oil.
Uh-huh.
So, grilled fish with brown rice and lettuce. How do you say? Lettuce.
Lettuce. Okay.
And fruit. The fish will be 150 grams. The brown
Yeah.
rice would be 100 or 150 grams. The salad will be 150 grams. And fruits will be 200 to 300 grams.
Okay, so I appreciate this group for putting those portion sizes. Very important. That's great. And can you read something here again? The first part that there was something I wanted to say.
Vegetable soup.
Oh, okay. That's
yes,
it. Perfect.
again,
Okay.
with lemon and olive oil.
Okay. So my question to all of you here, are your soups canned or do you usually make them from scratch at home?
Yeah.
Wow. That is fantastic. Do you put a lot of salt in your soup? Because that's one of the things that are highest. Wow. It depends. It depends who makes it. I'm pretty sure. And so, because the soups here have been so delicious, it's so flavorful. And I think Mihai looked up one of the herbs for me, and it said lovage. Is that an herb? Or did we make that up? Mihai, are you here? Oh, he's gone. Okay. Well, we looked it up because there was one of the soups that I just really loved the flavor, and I thought, what is that herb? Oh, I totally butchered the word.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
How do you say it?
It's not in English. It's lovage.
It's not in English because okay, so I was told that this herb is not in America. So
Lovage. It's not lovage, or how is it?
I said lavage. I was making it French.
That's lovage in English?
That's he looked it up for me on his phone and said Lovage.
Yeah. This is the translation from Google also.
Oh, I see.
We use this herb a lot for soups. Not
For soups.
for
So
chorba,
it's
for
something
chorba.
it's something very specific to Romania, right?
Yes,
Okay, because that's a flavor that I just love, and I haven't had it in America.
Yeah.
Oh, she said she can eat that spice with bread. She used to do it because she liked it very much. To bring this particular spice. So she was saying that there are people in the western part of Europe who are asking people who come over here to bring the spice over to them. Yes, I need to bring some to America because I'm going to miss it. It's really good. So, I'm wondering, you know how herbs and spices, many of them have medicinal properties. And so it would be interesting if you can look that up, you know, and to see if there are any health benefits to it. Because that's something you can do in your practice when you're telling your patients and clients to use more herbs and spices to flavor their food instead of using salt. What will also encourage them to use these herbs and spices is to tell them the benefits. Like, you know, with onions and with garlic, well, it can help, you know, lower this and lower that. So maybe there are some medicinal properties with lavage. I'm going to call it lavage because it sounds eloquent. Okay.
Another one will be broccoli soup with garlic.
Oh, broccoli soup. Okay, yeah.
Grilled fish with rice, brown rice and vegetables, and dessert fruit.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, thank you so much. Excellent. I know we didn't get to all of them. I really would have wanted to. And if I didn't get to yours, and if you want me to talk about it later with you, I'll be more than happy to. I just have so much to cover that we just need to move right along. And thank you, Maria, for helping. Okay, I like talking in here better. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to tell me, there's this breakfast. It has 2 scrambled eggs with shredded cheese and 2 cups of orange juice. Okay, so that's 2 cups. 1 cup is about how many grams? 400 something grams in 1 cup? 400? Okay, so that'd be like... Okay, so that'd be like 900 something grams of orange juice, maybe, and then 2 scrambled eggs with shredded cheese. And the only reason why I put this up because basically I had one breakfast here that was basically that. And so I didn't complain though, I ate it because I do like eggs too, with cheese. But what is, how can we improve this breakfast? Okay, so she said to put the cheese to the side versus inside. Possibly, yeah, so I can control how much cheese I put in. Yeah, I don't have to put all the cheese in there. That's a good point. Okay, so instead of scrambled eggs, the recommendation would be boiled eggs at breakfast, and that's perfectly fine. I do have that at breakfast, because that way you wouldn't be cooking it with that extra oil, the extra fat, and the extra calories, versus having the scrambled eggs. It has all that extra calories in there. Okay, so you're saying add a vegetable? A vegetable cheese. Like tofu. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. I see what you mean. Got it. I'm a little slow. Okay. You know what? Do you have tofu cheeses here? Cheese? Oh, good to know. That's something that you can also use in your practice, because patients will say, I just love cheese and I can't live without cheese. And so that's an option that you can definitely tell them to try. Do you have rice cheese? Okay. Because in America, that's another option that we have, and I do use that also, rice cheese once in a while. You know, when I cook, I like to mix things around. I will use real cheese, and then sometimes I'll use almond cheese or the tofu cheese, the soy cheese, just for variety. Okay, but yes, or using the tofu cheese in here would be good. What else can I do? This just doesn't really cut it. Okay, bread, and I would do a whole wheat toast. Okay, and I hear vegetables. Okay. Spinach. Would I have the spinach to the side, or could I add it in my egg? Okay, very interesting, people, because, you know, in America, it's really actually strange for us to have a vegetable at breakfast. If we do, though, we have it in an omelet. And that would be in our eggs, and we would put our vegetables in our eggs. So, but you know, I really admire you all here, because you do have fresh vegetables at breakfast. And to me, as much as I believe in vegetables, it's just, I'm not used to it, you know? And so it's like, oh wow, I'm having to force this in me. But I know that if I lived here and I got more used to it, then that would be, I would get used to it, but it has been foreign to me. But I really admire you guys for having that be part of your meal too for breakfast. Very good. And you know the orange juice, I would cut down on this orange juice and have the orange itself. Why would I want the actual orange itself? Yes, for the fiber. And orange juice is not wrong at all, but the fiber is so important to have. And so, okay. Now, what's wrong with this dinner? Okay, so we just have goulash, and then we have creme brulee, and then a soda. Is this okay? Too many what? Too many grams. Yes, we have supersized this. That was my goal for this exercise. I supersized it, and yeah, so there's no meat. It's just basically the potatoes, right? Potatoes, the creme brulee, the Coca-Cola. Okay, so if I don't have any meat in this goulash, what can I do to improve that macronutrient that's missing? What's it missing? It's missing protein big time. Yes, there might be a little bit of protein in the potatoes. We can't discount that, of course, because there's protein in everything supposedly, except for fruit, really. But what can I do if someone vegetarian and they wanted to keep their dinner vegetarian? What can we do to increase the protein content of this meal? There you go. You can add beans, lentils. Okay, mushrooms. That would make it flavorful. It doesn't really have protein, but mushrooms is divine. It makes anything taste better. But the thing is, you know what? This might sound like a strange recommendation, but having a few nuts on the side, too, with the meal. I know you're probably not used to eating nuts with your meal, but that can also help increase the protein content. You know, so, and... oh, a salad with tofu pieces. Good idea. Yes, that would work. Seeds of, sunflower seeds. You're getting fiber and you're getting your protein. Yes, absolutely. You know, okay, now that just got into my head, because, you know, I love food, so ideas of food always come into my head. With the salad, too, with the sunflower seeds, this might sound foreign, but you know what? Putting a little bit of sesame seeds might be a good idea. What is it about sesame seeds? Calcium, yes. Could you imagine? That has calcium, sesame seeds. So that's a good option. Okay, another seed that has gotten popular in America. You know, there are foods that become superfoods. You know, I don't like to use the word superfoods for food because really... there's no such thing. They're just really healthy. So if you want to use superfoods, that's fine. But a lot of Americans that are dietitians do write articles on the next best 10 superfoods. But chia seeds. Have you heard of chia seeds? Have you seen those pets? Chia, that one? Yeah, okay. Does anybody have those growing at home? Here, can you buy those here? No, not really. Okay, in America, you can buy what's called chia pets, and so it's this vase that's shaped into an animal, and then you put the seeds all over this animal-shaped thing, whatever it is, and then the seeds grow, and it becomes like this bushy, hairy plant. But then you can eat the seeds that has sprouted, and so chia seeds. But you have heard of it here. You have hemp seeds here, but you don't really have chia seeds. Okay, hemp seeds are good too. Okay, so on the internet, chia seeds are available. But chia seeds have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. That's one thing great about chia seeds. And it has a good amount of protein too. So, you know, when these new discoveries, even though they've been around for a long time, you know, when these come out, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's the next best thing, and then just totally focus on eating that. Because sometimes that's what the media can do. They can actually take a food and say, oh, eat it, it's the greatest thing, and then you just focus on that. You know what? Variety is the key. And with your patients and clients, they are going to be aware of the newest, the latest thing. So you need to keep up with the latest and the newest, but encourage them, well, yes, Chia seeds are high in omega-3 fatty acids, but variety is key. Have other food sources that are also rich in that. Just don't stick to just one thing. So that's, you know, an issue that we can run into. Okay, and what about this creme brulee? It's too much for it. You're absolutely right. Would we cut it in half or by a third or a quarter? Yeah. You really just need a bite, a flavor, a taste, but definitely not that much. And instead of having Coca-Cola, water is your best drink to drink, okay? I know a lot of patients don't like me when I say that, but that's okay if they don't. But you know, water is definitely the best drink because it's 0 calories, but yet you are cleansing your body and giving hydration to your body. With Coca-Cola, what does it give you? Sugar and what else? Huh? Oh, phosphoric acids. Well, that's true. I wasn't thinking about that. Very true. It does. You're absolutely right. But caffeine is an issue. I mean, you know, okay, everybody's going to have different opinions about caffeine. But the thing is, some people, I know some of my students in America, they tell me that they can't start their day off unless they have it. And I'm hoping that you're not like them. I'm hoping you're not like my students, but if you are, I still love you. And the thing is, really, you know, sometimes we think that we have to have certain things to get our day started. But you know what? If we can just try to depend on adequate rest, good sleep, good balanced regular meals, drinking water throughout the day, there really is no need for a stimulant to get us going through the day. And so, yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm not telling you to not have caffeine or not. I'm just sharing. Okay, so there's that. And, okay, diabetes. We're going to go right into diabetes really quickly. There are so many ways to teach a patient with diabetes, whether they are type 1, type 2. The two popular methods right now that can work adequately is the carbohydrate counting method and the plate. Oh, I don't have it on slideshow mode. Sorry about that. Okay, carbohydrate counting method and the plate method. With the carbohydrate counting method, it's okay. Luke, was there anything you needed from me? Luke, was there anything you need from me? I think I'll just be able to cover this. So, okay, thank you. With carbohydrate counting, it's an easier way versus the exchange system. Were you taught the exchange system in class? It's like looking at how many servings to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's fine too. You know, some patients don't want that way, but if they do, teach that to them. Okay, but that would have to be an absolutely motivated patient that will be very diligent in measuring this and that. And if they want that, that's great, but not one size fits all. You have to really take time to get to know your patient and see where they are, see what they're willing to follow, how much they're far to go. Because if you imposed that exchange system on them, they'll just be like, phew, that is so difficult that I can't follow it. Forget it. I won't do it. But offer them options. Offer to them what is best for them. So with the carbohydrate counting, the importance of this is that it does help with controlling the blood sugar levels for a better overall feeling. It's a balance between carbohydrates and their insulin. This is especially so much better for those who are type 1 on insulin, and it helps with meal planning. I'm going to go back. So what I personally don't like about the carbohydrate counting, although it's helpful, it's good, it's not bad, is that some dietitians, when they teach this, they only teach their patients just the food sources that are carbohydrates. And then they don't even talk about the importance of protein. If you just talk about the carbohydrates to your patients and your patient has diabetes, they'll think, my dietitian didn't tell me anything about protein, so I probably don't have to worry about protein or how much protein I take. and that can be a problem. So that's the deficiency that I see with carbohydrate counting. But with the students, though, I tell them, when you are teaching the carbohydrate counting system to your patients, make sure that you also go over the food items that are also rich in protein so that they'll be aware of it. Okay, so foods that have carbohydrates, we know are breads, crackers, cereals, pastas, rice, potatoes, corn, peas, beans and legumes, although what's good about them is that they do have protein. But let's not forget that milk, soy milk, and yogurt is also a good source of protein. However, the dairy products, they also have a natural sugar called what? Lactose. Absolutely right. And so some patients with diabetes might think, well, you know, I'll just keep drinking milk because it has a lot of protein. But they also need to be guided on how much. Because if they drink too much milk also, because it has also a lot of lactose, their blood sugars can still go up. So educate them on every food item that you introduce to them. Fruits and fruit juices, nothing wrong with fruits itself. Okay, it does have fructose. The problem is if you have your patients with diabetes eat a lot of fruit at one sitting, their blood sugars can go up. But we never ever say, oh, fruit, it has sugar, you shouldn't eat that at all. In a controlled amount, it will be fine. And your patients should never, ever eat fruit by itself because it only takes an hour or two to be digested. And if they had that fruit by itself, the blood sugars will go up, and then that will be an issue. So if they want that as a snack, just make sure that if they're having a piece of fruit, that they have it paired with something that has protein. Because then the protein will slow down the blood sugars from rising up too fast. Of course, it will still go up, but it will slow it down. Now, what would be a good example or a good recommendation for a snack of a protein source with your fruit? Nuts, absolutely. Yeah, and a small amount of yogurt. You're absolutely right. And sometimes maybe with a whole grain crackers with a little bit of cheese on it, like string cheese also. Then just a small amount with the apple or with the orange, then they will be perfectly fine, okay? Fruit juices, actually, we tell our patients to not have it for the most part, only when their blood sugars are really low. Then of course we want them to get it back up. So we tell them to just have a small amount, and then they'll have to check their blood sugars and see where it's at. But the thing is, with fruit juices, it doesn't have to be digested. So if they're having it with their meal, it will really skyrocket, okay? And especially with mothers. I haven't really worked with the pregnant mothers, but I know their recommendations is to really take that fruit juice, especially out of the way in the morning. But with any of our patients, we tell them not to have fruit juice, but to eat the fruit itself because it has the fiber. Okay. Now, when it comes to sweets like cakes, cookies, ice creams, jams, and jellies, again, we never ever say never, but we say, you know what? You can have a small portion of this once in a while. And the question to me was asked, well, what's once in a while? And you know what? That doesn't have a written in stone guideline. But you know what? Just use your own judgment on that. See where they're at, how often they actually eat these things. And if you think, wow, they eat it every day, make a contract with them. Okay, I know you have this particular food item that's high in sugar every single day, but you know it's really going to make your blood sugars go up if you have it all the time. Can we cut back to once or twice a week? Would that do? And have it with a protein source. Okay, so with this carbohydrate counting system, the question was asked yesterday, who figures that out? And that is usually the dietitian. We take their weight, and then we actually figure out the total calories that the patient needs for the day, and then we take either 50 to 60% of their calories and we figure out the carbohydrates, and then we convert that into grams of carbohydrate, and then we just divide that for how many meals and then how many snacks. And so to give you an example of what we say is a carbohydrate, serving, one serving of food is equal to 15 grams of carbohydrate. And check the serving sizes with measuring cups and spoons or a food scale, and read food labels to find out how many food grams of carbohydrates are in food. Because even though we have this guideline, one serving is 15 grams of carbohydrate, the actual food manufacturer might make it slightly differently than our guideline here. So have some labels with you if you are going to be seeing patients in the hospital or in a clinic. Have some examples with you. Here are some labels, and this is how to read the actual nutrition facts label. And typically, this is just a general guideline, and it varies between physicians and different settings and different protocols. But usually, the general basic guideline is 15 grams of carbohydrate per 1 unit of insulin. But again, there are some leeways to that. Okay, so here's a list of what one serving is, like one slice of bread, a fourth of a large bagel. The whole bagel is not going to be one serving. That's 4 servings in one whole bagel. So you would have a lot of grams of carbohydrate there. And like a half cup of cooked cereal is 1 serving. So if you can just look there, those are the different serving sizes. And fruit, 1 small fresh fruit is equivalent to 1 serving, or 15 grams of carbohydrate. 17 small grapes is considered a serving. And we have fruit juice there just only for those times that the blood sugars are really low, but that's not something we want them to have all the time. A cup of melon or berries is considered a serving. And milk, 1 cup of milk or 1 cup of soy milk is considered a serving. When it comes to yogurt, it's 2/3 cup of fat-free yogurt sweetened with sugar-free sweetener. And then we have more guidelines for sweets and desserts. Again, it's not a no-no, it's just once in a while for them. And then we have other foods, like 1 cup of raw vegetables or a half cup of cooked non-starchy vegetable is actually giving 0 carbohydrates. They're considered free foods. And then they can have 3 or more servings of raw vegetables or cooked non-starchy vegetables. If they did have that, that would actually count as 1 carbohydrate serving if they had that much. And then there are some food items. Foods with less than 20 calories is considered a free food. Like, do you have gelatin here? Sugar-free gelatin? No, maybe not. Okay. Well, that's an example of a free food. Carrot sticks, celery sticks, if they wanted a snack. This would, or sometimes patients will say, I'm just so hungry. I'm hungry throughout the day. But then we don't want them to go over their carbohydrate allotment for the day. So we actually would recommend these carrot sticks, these celery sticks that they can have in between their meals, should they want that. And for a mixed food, like 1 cup of casserole, okay, mixed foods with vegetables and a protein source, that would count as 2 carbohydrate servings, 1 cup. So for most adults, the recommendation is 3 to 5 servings of carbohydrate foods should be eaten at each meal. And snacks can consist of 1 to 2 carbohydrate servings. This is just in general, but you can be more specific for them by getting their weight and figuring out the calories that they need, converting that to grams of carbohydrate, and distributing that throughout the day. Most carbohydrate meal plans can come from, and this is just an idea, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, 3 servings of whole grains, 2 to 4 servings of milk or milk products. This is for a typical average person whose caloric needs are about 1,800 calories a day. This is just average. But always remind them to take their blood sugars on a regular basis too. Check regularly, and we'll tell if adjustment is needed for timing of eating carbohydrates. And what's going to be really helpful as a dietitian is to have your patients also write down their meals, like especially if they're brand newly diagnosed. And if they're especially on insulin and we're still trying to help them figure out their meal plan, it would be nice if they can write out what they've been eating, what time, how much insulin they've been taking at that time. And then if we see that sometimes their blood sugars are falling too low or too high, and we can look at what they've been eating, then when they come back to see you, and they have recorded what they've been doing, then that will help you make adjustments. You might have to take something out, you might have to add something in, but it's not going to be, okay, the first plan that you give them will be right on. A lot of times it will be, but for some patients, you just really need to hang in there with them and work together with them and to see what will actually work best for them. And we need to also always encourage them to increase their fiber intake with whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and beans, and include the protein sources at every meal and every snack. Of course, it's important for all of us to have protein at every meal, but especially more so for them so that their blood sugars are in much better control. So the protein sources, soy meats, beans and legumes, nuts, eggs, low-fat cheeses. We know what the healthy fats are. We've talked about that. And we know what are the foods that are high in saturated fat. Now, okay, there are some patients that I told you that using the exchange method, they like it, but they're ultra motivated. So that works well for them. Then there are some patients that they just want to focus on the carbohydrates, but they know they have to have protein at every meal. That will work for them. There are some patients that they will come to you and they'll say, this is still too much for me. I can't do this. And so say, hey, we have another option. And so the plate method that you have, I have ours here, but yours that you have on the front of your program booklets, this is another way of guiding your patients, even with diabetes, to follow, because it does emphasize the protein at every meal. And then even though you don't have specific amounts of servings, you can still say, toss that in there for your fruits and your vegetables, but presenting it to them this way makes it more doable. So again, there are some patients with different motivations, degrees of motivations, and wanting different meal plans. See which one best works for them, because not one size fits all. If their blood sugars are too low, then it is a good idea to help them out by treating them with 15 grams of carbohydrates. Do you have glucose tablets here? Oh, fantastic. Okay, so it would be nice if they just had that for just in case. If they don't have that, then a half cup of fruit juice or regular soft drink, just to get the blood sugars back up, would be good, or 6 saltine crackers, or 1 tablespoon of syrup or honey. This isn't something that we want them to have all the time. But if we don't get their blood sugars up right away, then they can get in deep trouble. So this is something that they can do to just help for that moment. And then after they take this, and they should wait 15 minutes and then take their blood sugars and see if their blood sugars have gone up to the right level that we want it to be at. And if not, then they have to do this again. 15 minutes later, take their blood sugars. And if not, then they really need to contact the physician and see what's going on. But wait 15 minutes and retest. If still below, then treat, exactly what I talked about. On the days that they are sick, that they may have the flu or they're having a fever, we need to keep in mind that fevers can cause and dehydration, infection, or stress of illness. All these things can make their blood sugar levels go up. And vomiting, diarrhea, and fever, we really need to make sure that we replace their loss of fluid by making sure they're getting enough fluid. And small sips of 1 or 2 tablespoons every 15 to 30 minutes would be of fluid would be very helpful. Okay, if they get dehydrated, then their electrolytes could also be affected, and everything else can really exacerbate things for them and their blood sugars. So we need to help them out with their fluids. And if regular foods, sometimes they're so nauseated that they cannot eat anything. Regular foods is just too much for them to take at that point. So if they're not tolerating it, then soft carbohydrate foods temporarily should be given, like soft drinks, soups, juices, ice cream. Do you have sugar-free ice cream here? Yes, I heard yes. Okay, that would be a desirable choice, but if not, just so that they have something in them, you know, for 1 or 2 meals until the nausea or the vomiting subsides. This is a temporary way of helping get the calories in them. Okay, so we have a lunch here for someone with diabetes. Can you tell me what is wrong? We have pasta with just a marinara sauce. There's no meat in there. And we have an orange juice. What is wrong? Everything is wrong about it. No protein at all. There might be a little teeny tiny bit in the pasta, but there's no protein. What would you suggest they add to this pasta or just add to this meal? Either fish or tofu, if they're vegetarian, yes. Or maybe chicken to the sauce, okay? And there you go. Whole wheat pasta would be best. It bumps up the fiber intake, the fiber content. Very good. And what about that orange juice? Can we leave that there? Let's take it out. An orange, yes, let's put an orange in there. But, you know, the patient will say, but I need some kind of liquid. I just can't eat my meal without. Water's the best drink to drink, yes. Okay. And if need be, then, you know, I don't know, but not that I do this myself, but maybe like an herbal tea that doesn't have any sugar, if they wanted something with more flavor to it, then that would be an option. I'm not one to really push the sugar-free products because a lot of them are made with artificial sweeteners, and that's a whole nother topic that we can debate on and go into, but I just would rather have them stay away from that as much as possible. And water is really the best drink to drink as much as possible. Okay, what's wrong with this snack? No protein. Okay, yes. Okay, actually, this type of sugar, it's a complex carbohydrate, so it is fructose, it's fine, and the apple itself is fine, but as you said, we just need to add protein to it. Or, yeah, so like nuts, a few nuts would definitely help. Because a lot of patients that I've seen who have diabetes, you know, they are really happy to report to me, oh yes, I have a snack, and my snack is an apple. Good for me. And it's like, well, yeah, you know, that's great that it's a fruit, but eating fruit by itself is not good. And so then you guide them to put that protein in there. So, okay, but that's great. The apple itself is good, but we just need something else on it. Okay, so my time ends at 11:45. No, okay. I know I'm supposed to end because I know Kathy's going on. Okay. Is it 11:45 already? Okay, it is. All right, well, I had 2 other diets that I was going to go over, but I guess I might have to come back in a couple years or so to go over those. No, it's okay. I'd rather end on time. I don't like to go over because it's not fair. It's not fair to Kathy. It is 12 o'clock. Do you need a break? Okay, all right, okay. So let's, I don't need a break, but I can talk really fast. So Christian, get ready. We're going to zoom through this one. Okay, so renal disease. Okay, the important nutrients when you have someone, and I'm going to go back and forth, someone who is not on dialysis but is anywhere between stages 1 to 4, they have renal insufficiency. I'll go between that and I'll go between on dialysis. But our nutrients of concern are protein, sodium, potassium, and phosphorus. Okay, if your patient is not on dialysis yet, it's really important that you encourage them to cut back on their protein intake. 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram. And beyond that, that will actually make their kidneys go into hard drive mode. It's going to work harder than it should, and we can make the disease process be accelerated more than we'd like it to. We'd like to help slow things down. It would be nice if we can help vanish it, but we can't. So if we can slow down the progression of the disease, that would be good. So we know what's high in protein: red meats, poultry, fish, eggs, nuts. They're high in protein, so we need to ask them to really minimize their intake of protein. We talk about how important it is to have protein at every meal. They still need it, but just less amounts. We know the things that are high in sodium, so we won't go over that. We did that earlier, but sodium is very key for them. That is another issue. They have issues with blood pressure. They have issues of retaining fluid, whether it be pre-dialysis or on dialysis. So this is something you need to really focus in with your patients. Potassium. Before dialysis, it needs to be low potassium. Bananas, oranges, all those things that are listed up there. However, on dialysis, it's a different story. They're on dialysis 3 times a week, and some of them are very, very good at following your advice. Oh, I need to be in a low sodium diet? Okay. And some of them follow it to a T. But on dialysis, it can be a completely different story. 2 months later, because they've been going to dialysis faithfully and following their diet, it might be that 2 months later, their lab value is showing that their potassium is too low. And that's not good. And so we actually tell them, oops, now we have to put back some of those high potassium and high fruits and vegetables back in. And beans have also potassium. Dairy products also have potassium, but they are also high in phosphorus. But so just know, on dialysis, it's not always going to be the same. That's why at dialysis centers, the dietitians there see their patients once a month, every month. And they give them their report card as far as the labs are concerned. And they talk over their labs, about their labs. So potassium, if it's too low or too high, it affects the heart, and we don't want their hearts to give out on them. Phosphorus, oh, it's a huge issue in the renal world, okay? Even starting at stage 1, stage 2, it's a really good idea for them to really cut back on their phosphorus, even on dialysis. Dialysis doesn't really do a good job of taking out the excess phosphorus, but it does with the potassium and the sodium, but not with the phosphorus. And so they really need to decrease their intake of these food items. And the thing is, they are also on a medication called phosphate binders that helps their phosphorus levels go down. But they still, even though they're taking in phosphorus low, they still need that phosphate binder. But everything that has protein, which they need on dialysis, because on dialysis, they're losing amino acids, so their protein requirement goes up high. They can have more protein on dialysis. So the thing is, though, all the things that are high in protein are also high in phosphorus. Oh, and it's really, really hard. So dairy products, chocolate, nuts, the yolk of an egg, colas, meats and fish, beans, pancake mixes, whole grain products. Oh, I have colas there twice, sorry. You know what? With these patients, I know this is going to sound really strange, but we actually tell them what's going to be healthy for you is to eat the white bread, the white rice, the white pasta. And then they'll say, but that's not healthy. I've been told all my life that whole wheat is the way to go. And you know, it is usually generally for everybody else, but what's healthy for them, because they have a kidney that's not functioning the way we want it to, what's healthy for them is to have everything white as far as refined products is concerned, okay? So it's not a bad thing, it's a healthy thing for them. So I know the thinking is a little bit twisted, so to speak, for them. And if they do get a kidney transplant later on, then yes, they can put back all those high phosphorus foods that we're asking them to cut back at this time. Okay, so colas are high in phosphorus. Root beer is not. Okay, so even though it has that same color as the colas, it's not as high. And then the other sodas, not that I promote sodas, but should they have sodas, then like the 7-Ups, those aren't high in phosphorus. Okay. Fluid restriction, many of them need to be on a fluid restriction. And so keep in mind that anything that melts at room temperature, they have to count that as their fluid restriction. If they're fluid restricted, it's usually about 1,500 cc's per day or 1,000 cc's per day, milliliters. I don't know what that is in grams, but it's usually they're restricted to like 6 cups a day of fluid. And so keep in mind, anything that melts in room temperature has to be counted as part of their fluid intake. So ice cream, if they eat ice cream, even though it's high in phosphorus, gelatin, puddings, soups, sauces, some of their medications, maybe syrups. So that all has to be counted. If they're really on a fluid restriction, then that needs to be accounted for. It's not just, drinking from a bottle or a cup, that's what we count, but it's these other things too. Okay, but in this population, it is really crucial to look out for the phosphorus intake. I see that is a struggle because a lot of them just like to eat what they want, and it's really hard, but yet they need protein, especially they're on dialysis, but yet they're all high in phosphorus too, so it can get very tricky at times. I wish I had more time to talk about that, but I can really talk about renal diets. So what is the better beverage for a renal patient? Whole milk, rice milk, or almond milk? I hope you're all thinking rice milk because that really doesn't have any phosphorus in it. So here I'm looking at the phosphorus level. Dairy product, very high in phosphorus. Almond, it's a nut. All nuts are high in phosphorus, so that's going to still have a lot of phosphorus, even though it won't be as much as milk, but it still has a whole lot. But the best choice would be rice milk. It would be 0. Okay, can someone with renal disease have this bean and cheese burrito made with whole wheat tortillas? No is the answer. Correct. You're absolutely right. Okay, it's not an absolute no-no. If they want this, we can modify this. So instead of a whole wheat tortilla, do you eat burritos here? No. I don't know why I brought. You know why I brought this burrito up? Because Dr. Dan told his brother and Mihai to bring us to a Mexican restaurant in Bucharest last Saturday, and so we ate there at a Mexican restaurant. So that's why I kind of thought that you eat burritos here. Sorry about that. But what's wrong about this is that the tortilla is whole wheat, so it should be white. And then the beans and the cheese, I would put in some white rice in there to cut the amount of beans and cheese. So we wouldn't have to take it away completely. We would just have to add other things and substitute. So they could have a burrito, but we would just have to modify it. Okay? You never know. You might get someone who loves burritos here in Romania. So, okay, so that one was quick. And so a few more minutes with celiac disease. Okay. The horrible craze that's going on in America right now, which it just mortifies me, is that a lot of people are putting themselves on a gluten-free diet, even if they don't have celiac disease, even though they don't have a gluten sensitivity, and they think, oh, it's making them feel better. If you don't have celiac disease, if you don't have celiac sprue, don't put yourself on it, because then you would be missing out on a lot of nutrients. Only those with celiac sprue, they really need to be on it, otherwise it will do more damage to their mucosal lining. So the offending protein is gliadin, and what will help them is to really take that out, especially as soon as possible, and within the first 4 to 5 days, their symptoms of pain and discomfort will subside. So we need to get in there and help them as soon as possible. But because those mucosal lining, the villi, is damaged, and we don't know how long they haven't been treated, before they were diagnosed, there will be a lot of deficiencies that will take place because the lining has been damaged. So there are deficiencies in iron, folate, calcium, vitamin D, and we need to replace that. The nutrients are lost through diarrhea and steatorrhea, and then they can have bone disease, and their albumin levels can be too low. Glutamine is helpful because it's an important fuel for health of the intestinal epithelial cells. It can be replenished as needed. What they absolutely cannot have is wheat, rye, and barley. Absolute no-nos for them. And there are so many things with gliadin in it, with the gluten, the breads, stuffing, croutons, graham flour, bulgur, matzo, broth, breading, communion wafers, pastas, cracked wheat, semolina, farina, malt, brown rice, commercial soups, imitation bacon, imitation seafood, as well as marinades, sauces, soups, thickeners, vegetarian meat substitutes, and commercial potatoes and rice mixes. So it's very frustrating for them. You know, they'll be like, well, what can I eat? What can I have that will make me actually start feeling better? Well, if they're going to use soy sauce, it has to be absolutely pure. They can only use white or non-malt vinegars and wheat starch, even though it says wheat, but wheat starch is actually okay. There are other choices out there, like amaranth flour, arrowwheat, beans are fine, buckwheat, there's our buckwheat there, cassava, corn bran, hasa marina, gluten-free bread. Do you notice here in Romania, are there companies that are making gluten-free products now? Like breads? Okay. So what I would do is as a dietitian, when I go to the supermarkets, I'm always taking note of what store I've been to and what products that I have there. And sometimes I even try them out myself because not all gluten-free products are good. Some of them taste horrible. And then but I want them to enjoy their food. So I really try to find the ones that to me are flavorful. And I keep, a list of that. And then I share that with them. So when you go to the markets, also look at the other things. You may not have to buy it yourself, but be aware of what's out there for this particular population. Hominy grits are fine, nut flours, quinoa, potatoes, potato starch, potato flour. Also rice, sorghum, soy, tapioca, wild rice. Recommended for them to use olive oil, nuts, fruits, and vegetables. No gluten there, so that is great. And all these other things can help decrease inflammation, like lycopenes in tomatoes, quercetin in apples, citrus fruits. And tyrosol is found in olive oil, and that can also help with inflammation. So you can encourage them to cook and have that in their salads. Now, oats, even though they say that's fine for celiac patients, but some of them get contaminated depending on where it's grown. So there are some companies that make sure it's pure oats that they're selling. So you have to look into those companies. Fiber. Diet should include low amounts of fiber initially because the villi is flattened, but then they can increase their fiber as things get better for them. They might have lactose intolerance, so ask them to cut back on that for the first few days. And these are the nutrients that the gluten-free products are low in. So those people that think that, oh, I'm doing myself a great job, I'm doing myself a good thing by being on a gluten-free diet, even though they don't need it. But look at these nutrients that they're missing out on, a lot of important nutrients. And these are the supplements that they may need, okay? Iron, calcium, folic acid, B12. Now this is brown rice. Is this okay for someone with, okay, you're right. On one hand, yes, it is, but it has this other component in it. It's a very long word, and I can't remember it right now. But for some people with celiac sprue, it can still bother them. And again, I can't remember the name. So some of them, they just actually stick with white rice, even though brown rice doesn't have it. But there's another component in there that they might be sensitive to. And what's this? Wheatgrass. Okay, wheat. We're saying they can't have wheat. But I'm saying, well, maybe they can have wheatgrass. This plant itself doesn't have the gluten in it. But the seeds itself, it does. When it sprouts, it does not. But depending on where it's grown, it can actually get contaminated. So we don't know where they're grown. We don't know how well they're being regulated. So it's just best for them to stay away from it. Okay. There you go. Thank you so much.